Welcome to Real Reddit Stories. Today we have 3 insane stories. Let me know in the comments which one shocked you the most. For 8 years, I thought I had the perfect marriage. My husband traveled for work about 10 days each month, always to the same city for regional meetings. I never questioned it because he always came home with gifts and stories about boring conference rooms. Last month, I decided to surprise him for his birthday. I booked a flight to meet him at his hotel, imagining his face when I walked into the lobby. The front desk couldn't find his reservation. I called his phone and heard it ring from across the lobby. He was sitting at a table with a woman and 2 children, who looked about 6 and 4 years old. The little girl called him Daddy. I stood frozen as my entire reality crumbled. He spotted me, and his face went completely white. The woman asked who I was, and when he couldn't answer, I told her I was his wife of 8 years. She started screaming that she was his wife of 7 years. We compared wedding photos on our phones. His were identical poses with different brides. He had literally used the same venue, same photographer, same vows. The audacity still makes me physically ill. It turned out he worked remotely and had been splitting his time between 2 complete families in cities 4 hours apart. 2 mortgages, 2 sets of in-laws, who had never met him simultaneously, 2 anniversary dates he somehow never confused. His company had no idea he wasn't actually traveling. He just worked from different home offices. The other wife and I are now genuinely close friends bonded by shared trauma. We've spent hours comparing notes about the elaborate lies he told us both. He actually recycled romantic gestures between us, sometimes giving us identical gifts weeks apart. We filed for divorce on the same day using the same lawyer, who gave us a group discount because she said she'd never seen anything like it. He's currently living in his car because neither of us would let him stay, and his parents disowned him when they found out they had secret grandchildren. My therapist says I'm handling this remarkably well. I think I'm just still in shock that someone could maintain such an exhausting double life for nearly a decade. Now for the next story. Alright, story number 2 is even crazier. 3 years ago, I was fired from my dream job at a marketing firm after someone anonymously reported me for stealing a client's campaign idea. The accusation was false, but the damage was done. I lost everything and had to start over in a completely different city. My best friend Sarah was my rock through it all, letting me crash at her place, helping me job hunt, and constantly reassuring me that karma would get whoever did this. Last week, I was helping Sarah move apartments when I found a folder in her desk drawer. Inside were printed emails between her and my former boss. She had fabricated the entire complaint, complete with fake evidence she had created by accessing my work computer during a visit to my office. The emails showed her asking my boss to keep her involvement confidential. Her motive was right there in black and white. She had applied for my position 6 months before I was fired and been rejected. My boss told her they weren't hiring, but then they hired me instead. Sarah had been planning my destruction while smiling at my face for months. The worst part was reading her email after I was fired, where she asked my boss about the opening again. She got an interview, but ultimately didn't get the job anyway. She destroyed my life for nothing. I didn't confront her immediately. I photographed everything and spent a week consulting with a lawyer. I learned that what she did constitutes defamation and tortious interference, and I have a solid case. I also contacted my former employer with the evidence, and they've opened an internal investigation, since my boss clearly violated company policy by acting on anonymous accusations without verification. Yesterday, I moved out of Sarah's apartment while she was at work, leaving only a copy of the emails on her kitchen counter. She's been calling and texting non-stop, alternating between apologies and threats. My lawyer sent her a cease and desist letter this morning. I still can't process that someone I trusted completely, someone who held me while I cried about losing everything, was the one who took it all away. 15 years of friendship was apparently worth less than a job she didn't even get. Now for the next story. And our final story today. I took a DNA test for fun, hoping to find distant cousins and learn about my heritage. Instead, I discovered that my dad shares zero DNA with me. My first thought was that my mom had an affair, which would have been devastating enough. But then the matches started coming in, and they were all from my dad's side of the family. I was somehow related to his relatives, but not to him. It took me 3 weeks of obsessive research to figure out what happened. My biological father was my dad's younger brother Michael, who died in a car accident 11 months before I was born. According to family whispers I'd overheard as a child, but never understood, my parents had been separated for almost a year before reconciling right before my mom got pregnant with me. The timeline suddenly made horrifying sense. My mother had an affair with my uncle while separated from my father, got pregnant, and then reconciled with my dad after Michael died. She let everyone believe I was my father's child. I confronted my mother privately, and she broke down immediately. She said she and Michael had fallen in love during the separation and were planning to be together permanently. When he died, she was devastated and terrified about being pregnant and alone. My dad reached out to comfort her about losing his brother, and she saw an opportunity to give me a stable home. She's carried this secret for 32 years. My dad walked in during her confession and heard everything. The look on his face broke something inside me. He's been my father in every way that matters, coached my soccer teams, paid for my college, walked me down the aisle at my wedding. Finding out I was the product of his wife's affair with his dead brother has shattered him. My parents are currently in intensive marriage counseling. My mom keeps saying she did what she thought was best for me, but I can't look at her without seeing decades of lies. My dad and I have actually grown closer through this because we're both victims of her deception. I have my uncle's eyes. Everyone always said I didn't look like my dad, and now I know why.